Because we are the change. We are going to spark the change.
It's a familiar sound these days on the streets of Atlanta. Hundreds, if not thousands, of voices raised in unison, demanding change in light of the deaths of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and countless others. But today's peaceful protest in the Buckhead community was a bit different this time. Organized by the newly formed group Buckhead For Black Lives, the event is the first entirely youth-led march in the city of Atlanta.
It's been really heartwarming over the entire last week to see how much young folks have been pushing this conversation, and it is really encouraging to be here in the heart of the most affluent part of Atlanta and to see hundreds of students here demanding change.
Focused on the Buckhead community, the Buckhead For Black Lives group is protesting systemic racism, not only in government spheres and law enforcement, but especially in the classrooms and hallways of Atlanta private schools.
I think our biggest thing was to educate others on what the social injustice actually is, and I think our biggest thing is to make it that this is not a white versus black movement, this is not a black versus cops movement, it's an everyone versus systemic racism movement.
Buckhead For Black Lives is made up of current students and young alumni from the Lovett School, and the group launched their idea on social media just over the past week. Founding member Isabel Johnson said it is essential to bring these issues of systemic racism to Buckhead's front door in order to show those within the community how these issues are affecting their Black and POC childhood friends, neighbors, classmates, and teammates. Students from all over Atlanta put on their masks and brought their signs down to the West Paces Ferry Shopping Center to support the movement.
I think that it's just really incredible to see how so many schools are coming together, especially in Buckhead, and this is a community that is just seeing so much diversity here within the schools, and I'm just really glad to be out here with my friends today, and we're just going to have a really good time because this is an important movement, and I think it's time for some change in America. Yeah.
Although the group's founding members all attended the Lovett School, other private institutions in the Buckhead community provided resources as best they could to support the student protest. Support from school administrators, like Pace Academy headmaster Fred Asaph, is encouraging to the members of Buckhead For Black Lives.
I think if there was ever a time that we need a complicated solution, it's now. Systemic racism needs the attention of everyone. If you look out around here, this crowd, and not just here, but in every community across America, people want change. They want real change. Not simple answers, complicated answers to really set a new course for our country. And I've spent my life working with young people, and there's nothing I want to see more than that change happen.
Fred Asaph, along with other school administrators, council members, and even a group of Atlanta Falcons football players, joined over 1,500 students, educators, and parents for today's march. Behind me is the Governor's Mansion and West Paces Ferry Road, where protesters gathered and walked for about 2 hours in nearly 90-degree weather. After arriving here, protesters knelt for 3 minutes of honorary silence. Then the organizers of the Buckhead For Black Lives group spoke a few words to the crowd before passing the mic to other students and alumni from surrounding Atlanta private schools, including Pace Academy and the Westminster schools. Very powerful words were spoken here this afternoon, and even a few tears were shed. Buckhead For Black Lives founding member Nick Jackson said that it will take focusing on one community at a time to create change on a national level, and that the group is committed to continuing conversations surrounding systemic issues in the Buckhead community, even if that means getting each of us out of our comfort zones.
The biggest way to make this change is for people who are uncomfortable, or people to get comfortable talking about the uncomfortable. That's the only way the change is going to be made.
For more information on how Buckhead For Black Lives is advocating for change within the Buckhead community and how you can get involved in the movement, you can follow the group on Instagram. For more resources on how to take action peacefully and effectively, please visit blacklivesmatter.com for information and resistbot.com for help with sending letters to your local and national government leaders. For Atlanta's Buckhead community, I'm Katie Christie.